Cruise news time. Well, sadly, it's cancellation day again. This time, Disney and several cruise lines are following Carnival's lead, now requiring a COVID test no older than 2 days before your cruise. And Florida looking to get paid, going after businesses that are violating the ban on vaccine passports. Will the cruise lines be impacted? It's your cruise news. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Lido, Loca. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news updates. Well, welcome to Friday. Welcome to Friday's show. It is September the 3rd, 2021, and your cruise news today is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. If you're someone who uses the internet, if you're someone who travels, if you're someone who finds themselves in a situation where you're connecting to a public Wi-Fi, you got to add this layer of safety to your data by using a VPN, a virtual private network. In simplest terms, the virtual private network, it basically bundles up your data and passes it to a secured server before it gets to the internet. It's like a layer of protection between you and the internet, and it keeps prying eyes away from your data. It keeps hackers away from your data, identity thieves away from your data. In addition to keeping your data safe, it also gives you a leg up over geo-blocking, where certain services will block your internet traffic based on where you are from. With a couple simple clicks, you can connect to a server in the United States or really anywhere else in the world and connect to the services that you need. Use promo code LOCA to get 83% off plus 3 extra months for free. Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. Surf with your own set of rules. The link is in the description. Thank you, Surfshark, for your continued sponsorship. Now let's jump into the cruise news. The first story up deals with Disney Cruise Line. They made an announcement yesterday regarding the Disney Wonder that will be sailing out of San Diego here in 2021. There was some cancellations. There was some changes of itinerary. They have moved the start date for the Wonder from the month of September to October the 1st, 2021. And they've basically done away with their longer itineraries, moving to 3 and 4 day itineraries. Of course, guests who have paid these cruises in full that have been impacted, they're able to get a full refund or a full future cruise credit to be used another way. But the big takeaway here is they will be doing 3-night sailings with a stop in Ensenada, a day at sea, and then the 4-night sailings will feature 2 days at sea and a stop at Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. It is possible that if you are booked on one of these longer cruises that you can stay on your original cruise. They'll just shorten the length of that cruise. They'll do some sort of prorate on the price. Again, if you're affected by any of this, best to reach out to Disney Cruise Line or reach out to your travel advisor to get the help that you need. Now, if you're going to sail with Disney, guests that are 12 or older must be fully vaccinated. For guests that are 11 or younger, they have to show up at the cruise port with a negative result of a PCR test that has been taken within 3 days prior to the cruise. And then everybody at the cruise port will be tested by Disney before they cruise, vaccinated and unvaccinated. So sadly, those that were booked on the Disney Wonder in September now canceled. That's the question. Were you canceled on Disney today out there on the West Coast? Leave a comment below. And while we're talking about testing, let's talk about everything that happened yesterday. Let's swing back over to Carnival just for a quick recap. Carnival announced yesterday that it would be following the recommendations by the CDC and requiring everybody who was going to sail that's vaccinated to be tested, to bring a negative test result with them to the cruise terminal, and that test result could be no older than 2 days. This starts on September the 13th, and essentially what that means, Carnival saying 2 days, and that means 2 days. It's not an hour thing. So if you're cruising on a Saturday, for example, after September the 13th, if you're cruising on a Saturday, then you could take your test on Thursday and take that negative test result to the cruise terminal. Now, there's going to be some unvaccinated guests on Carnival. There's still an exemption process. They have to take a PCR test. For the 2-day test, you can take a PCR or an antigen test. Antigen is usually rapid, but there are rapid PCR tests. But if you're unvaccinated, you have 3 days to come come up with a negative result for a PCR test. So different rules there for vaccinated and unvaccinated. Unvaccinated, a little bit more time. Again, just recapping yesterday's message, Carnival says they're working with a company to get mobile sites set up at the cruise ports as a last resort for anyone who cannot get a test. That is still in the works. I know this testing announcement threw a lot of people into a little bit of a panic. I saw a lot of comments yesterday, well, I don't know where to get a test. Can you give advice? I'm struggling to get a test here in Florida in a traditional way. You know, normally Walgreens, CVS, I could get an antigen test in the past, but not so right now. I've looked every day and I've not been able to do that. A lot of people have sent me resources. Primarily those resources have been the health department or urgent care type facilities. So yeah, this is what I would suggest. I do have a test booked in Seattle at the airport. It's going to cost me $200. It's a rapid antigen test. I'm going to get that the day that I fly in. That's my last resort. But I'm going to try, as I move into Friday this week, I have to have my test no sooner than Friday. I'm going to try to hit one of these urgent care places to see if I can get a test, because I would rather have that test prior to flying out. And so I think most people are in that boat. If you're not finding it in the traditional way, like even Princess has a link to Quest Diagnostics as their preferred partner. They don't have any appointments in my area. So yeah, you've got to exhaust all of those resources, but just go and look at your urgent care, give them a call. A lot of them are walk-in, so you can walk in, get on a list to get tested, get your test results in hand, but make sure, you know, I'd really rather have an appointment, but I'm struggling to even get an appointment. So on Friday, I'm going to track down some of these resources that have been sent to me in my area and see if I can get that test leaving Seattle I can cancel that at any time. But yeah, I'd rather have a test in hand. Now, all of this is probably going to be money out of my pocket, so be aware of that when you're looking for these testing centers. Carnival was not alone in announcing this yesterday. There was also an announcement from MSC. Yesterday, there was some updates to their website. They are also going to a 2-day testing requirement, but theirs does not start until November the 1st, 2021, and we're talking about departures from Miami and Orlando. That's where MSC is cruising from right now, and so if your cruise is before then, you can still have 3 days to get your test. But again, all this is changing rapidly. Don't just take my word on it. Make sure you verify it with your cruise line. But yeah, MSC going to a 2-day requirement. MSC is cruising vaccinated only when it comes to people 12 and older. And so they have a different testing process for 11 and younger. Make sure that you check that out and you know what you're getting into. So that's Carnival, that's MSC. Princess is also in there too. They made a change to their protocols yesterday. Theirs starts on September the 19th. Passengers will need a test within 2 days. So I'm still okay on my 3-day window. So I really could start looking for my test on Thursday. Let me amend what I said earlier. I was thinking 2-day testing. I will start looking for my test, my rapid test on Thursday, because I still have the 3-day process. But starting on the 19th, the following week, it will be a 2-day requirement. And then I do want to mention Norwegian Cruise Line. So Norwegian Cruise Line, they're doing testing at the port. They're picking up the cost, and they're doing it for everybody that's cruising on their cruise ship. They're cruising 100% vaccinated passenger, 100% vaccinated crew member. But here's the interesting caveat. If you get denied boarding getting onto your NCL cruise, they're going to pick up some of the costs for you if you have already got a test before you show up at the port, showing that you're negative. So it's not a hard requirement, but let me read this to you. If one person in our party tests positive, will we be denied boarding? Will the company assist with travel arrangements? Are you cruising Norwegian? Pay attention so you don't get stuck with a bill. Guests who test positive for COVID-19 while traveling in the same stateroom will be denied boarding. If you are denied boarding due to a positive COVID-19 test at embarkation, the cruise line will coordinate and cover costs for travel arrangements for you and those in your same stateroom if they are also denied boarding. Norwegian Cruise Line will assist with applicable expenses related to any mandatory quarantine that are not covered by a guest travel insurance. Only if the guest provides proof of a negative COVID-19 PCR or antigen test taken within 72 hours prior to their sail date. So dig that. It's a little convoluted. I'm not sure what it means, but it does seem like something's not going to be covered if you don't show up at the cruise port with a negative COVID test. And that's optional, and that's at your own cost. You don't have to do that. You can show up and get tested and get on your Norwegian cruise. But if you show up and get tested and you test positive, some of this stuff's not going to be covered according to this policy right here. So I've had people that are cruising on Norwegian that got emails to this effect. And so I just wanted to put that out there in case you're cruising on Norwegian. You may want to get a COVID test prior to going to the cruise port, even though it's not required if you want to get fully covered if for some reason you show up and you test positive. I also took a look at Royal Caribbean's policies. They've not changed. They're still the 3-day for their testing right now. That could change. If it does change, I'll make sure to let you know. Now let's talk what's going on down here in Florida. The Florida State Health Department has issued a new rule, and that rule is all about going after money from businesses that violate the vaccine passport ban. I'm going to tell you all about it. Does it apply to cruising? But first, let me quickly invite you to subscribe. If you like staying up to date with everything that's going on in cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. Thank you in advance. Here's the deal. Built into the law is a penalty for businesses that violate the vaccine passport ban, and that's $5,000 per violation. And this is really any business that would deny service based on vaccine status. Essentially, the cruise lines are doing that. Maybe they found a way around it. But the question is, does that mean that the state of Florida will be going after the cruise lines? Well, no, they will not. And the reason is because of the lawsuit that's been filed by Norwegian Cruise Line against the state of Florida and the injunction that is in place against the vaccine passport ban. And so while that injunction is in place, the state of Florida would not have any standing to try to collect or penalize the cruise lines for doing what they need to do to determine vaccine status. However, that injunction, that ruling is still in the appeals process. And so it is possible that on appeal, the injunction could be overturned, and then Florida could start pushing into the cruise line with these penalties. If you're happy that cruising is going on right now, if you're happy with the vaccine protocols, if you're happy that your favorite cruise line is out there doing it, I guess we got to say thanks to Norwegian Cruise Line and Frank Del Rio for that lawsuit. Boom, that's your cruise news. What do you think? I mean, canceled by Disney, the 2-day testing, is it still driving you crazy? And interesting that Florida really is the linchpin, the cornerstone for the cruise restart. Some would argue that the pressure that Florida put on the CDC with their lawsuit really was the catalyst for the cruise restart. And I know some would argue that NCL, if they had not brought their lawsuit against the vaccine passport ban, that cruising could be in the hurt locker going out of Florida. So interesting the way it's all playing out. I'm sure everybody can run that through their own filters and come up with their own conclusions. But yeah, leave a comment below. Thanks so much for checking out the show today. Please hit the like button, or when you go on your next cruise, you're going to realize the packing cube that you put all your unmentionables in. Yeah, I'm talking about your underpants. Well, it's still on the bed at home, and you're going to be all like, get to the chopper, commando. Get it? Yeah, no underpants. Hit the like button. This is Tony with Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.